Ian Panel reporting there. Well, let's speak to Mark Weisbrot, who's an expert on Latin America. He also co-wrote the documentary South of the Border, directed by Oliver Stone. He is also the co-director of the Centre for Economic and Policy Research and kindly joins us from Barcelona. Now, in filming the documentary, you went to Venezuela, among many countries. You met Hugo Chavez. The man that you met, was he the man that inspired the scenes of the tens of thousands of people that we saw on the streets of Caracas? Was that the man that you met?
Well, yes, I mean, there's no doubt he's a very personable, charismatic figure. I mean, he's a very sincere person. You know, it's very unusual for a politician to just say whatever he thinks. And a lot of the media hated him for that because they didn't think it was becoming for a head of state to say what he was thinking. But for the people there, that was a proof of his honesty and sincerity. And that's one of the reasons they loved him, I think.
Well, he seemed so divisive. He was either loved or hated. There didn't seem to be that sort of middle ground. He worked so hard to close the wealth gap, and yet he was criticised for, well, wasting the country's money.
Yes, well, those criticisms are just false. I mean, you know, you can just look at the economic data. You know, they didn't do very well for the first 4 years because Chavez didn't control the economy at all. The opposition controlled the oil industry and used it quite deliberately to sabotage the economy and try and overthrow the government. I'm sure you remember that. But since they got control over oil, the economy grew quite well. And unemployment's half of what it was when he took office. Poverty was cut by half during that last decade. Extreme poverty by 70%. You had millions of people got free health care for the first time. Access to college, enrollment in college doubled, and with many people getting free tuition. Pensions, access to public pensions tripled. So these were huge changes, and it was definitely an economic success story, no matter what you see. I mean, the press, you know, is terrible on Venezuela. You can hardly even find a positive story if you do a nexus search. But those economic facts are not in dispute among economists. That's standard data that's used by the IMF, the World Bank, the UN, and everybody else.
Okay, well, Mark Weisbrot, very good to talk to you. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We have to leave it there. But thank you very much, Mark Weisbrot, an expert on Latin America, as we heard there.